Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to another Into the Darkness, my segment on the channel dedicated to all things horror on film and television. And right now, we're here to talk about quite an interesting franchise. We've been doing this for a long time now, the franchise discussions, and this is one that's always fascinated me and always, I'll be quite honest, freaked me out in certain ways. It's very dark, it's very, ominous, and it deals with the son of the devil, Satan himself. We are talking about the Omen. And to talk about the Omen, of course, joining me are two of my fellow horror fans and fanatics, Mr. DJ Anubis of the Metal Tavern Radio, and of course, Anthony Jordan of Anthony Jordan's Movies and Gaming. How are my friends doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
Good.
Good. So, this
Good.
franchise is unique. It's different. It's darker, I think, than what I remembered from when I first watched these films quite a while ago. So let's get cracking and talk about them. But first and foremost, we'll start with Mr. DJ Anubis. Can you remember your first time checking out The Omen?
Ooh, good question. To be honest, I had seen parts of this film in the past, so this was the first time I actually sat and just watched the entire thing. Which is strange because normally I'm one that will watch just about every horror film and check out everything I can. But this is one that, like, even though I'd seen parts of it, had never really finished at any point. But doing this franchise discussion, it forced me to sit down with the entire franchise and just basically go through it. But yeah, I was, I remembered certain points with the woman that says, "This is for you, Damien," and she hangs herself, and so. But it was cool. Like, I do enjoy the franchise. It was kind of a nice surprise. We talked about it behind the scenes, how it's incredibly dark compared to most horror films where they have some lighter moments or happy endings. These ones usually don't.
Yes.
So I actually liked and enjoyed that aspect of the first one, especially.
hmm Anthony Jordan.
Watching it in preparation for this, it was interesting. While these films really aren't my thing, I at least find like the story told interesting, and especially just the presentation and acting of the first one were really solid. So this is one I can like separate myself from. Not really my thing, but I can act still admire what was done on screen.
Yeah. Can I tell you the most surprising thing I found about the first Omen? The Omen. The 1976 version is that this film was directed by Richard Donner. So, as
Mm-hmm.
you know, Richard Donner, he's done Superman, he's then did Lethal Weapon. He's got a massive list of films, and I never realized this was one of his films.
And apparently, Jaws actually impacted the tone of this movie.
That would not surprise me as
Because
well.
after seeing Jaws and how serious Jaws treated the subject matter, the decision was made in the writing to take a similar approach with how seriously it was treated.
Yes. So, The Omen is a 1976 supernatural horror film directed by Richard Donner, written by David Seltzer, an international co-production of the United Kingdom and the United States. It stars Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner, Harvey Spencer Stevens in his film debut, Billy Whitelaw, Patrick Thornton, Martin Benson, and Leo McKern. The film plot follows Damien Thorne, a young child replaced at birth by his father, unbeknownst to his wife, after their biological child dies shortly after birth. As a series of mysterious events and violent deaths occur around the family and Damien enters childhood, they come to learn he is in fact the prophesied Antichrist. So, the start of this film, when you're first introduced to the Thorne family, obviously you initially get that introduction of, the wife, and she's give birth to this baby who's died at birth, and then he is absolutely grief stricken, the father, but he's also torn because he wants to make his wife happy, but he's also, I think, thinking of his political career. He's also like, he is given this opportunity to have this child that's now motherless after the mother has apparently died at childbirth. And he then decides to take on this child who isn't his biological child, but he just thinks of his wife into, stop her from the agony of the pain of finding out that basically they've lost their child. So it opens up in a very, dark and also somber tone. And then it skips forward to then you're seeing Damien ready 5 years later, where he's like 5-year-old, and he's basically heading into his 5th birthday party. Everything seems normal and fine. This is Damien.
Can we say that despite being the child of Satan, that he has a very punchable face for a kid?
That kid was actually blonde, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was going to say he looks like a right little evil shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he fit the role very well.
Yes. But basically, he is bored. It's getting towards his 5th birthday party, and all these mysterious events start happening. At first, there's like this Rottweiler dog mysteriously turns up, growling, being aggressive. Then, of course, you have he goes to like the zoos and things with his family, and the zoo animals are acting crazy around him. And then, obviously, he has a babysitter who suddenly starts acting strange and weird, and it gets to his 5th birthday party. And as you mentioned before, things don't go that great because she decides to hire herself out of the window. And this is when all of a sudden, mysteriously, Mrs. Baylock, a new babysitter, turns up, who turns out to be a bit of a psychopath herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like these scenes with her, how crazy she gets towards, near end of the film.
Yeah.
She's basically sent there. She's a disciple of Satan, and she's there basically undercover to make sure Damien continues his rise throughout the course of the movie. So, Anubis, your overall thought of like as the plot progresses and like the tones of the movie and in like the plot itself.
I think it's great. It doesn't waste any time getting down to like how serious the tone is, what it means. In fact, like it is weird at one point because I still try to figure out like the woman that hangs herself initially is kind of just like she really likes Damien, trying to befriend him, and then all of a sudden there's this moment during the party where like I forget if it's a mother or somebody that comes and kind of interrupts them, and then she kind of gets mad, and then that's when she walks right to the
locks
house.
eyes with the Rottweiler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then there's this change of tone. That's of course when she goes to like, hang herself, which was pretty amazing. But I enjoyed the way it started out. I thought it was a good way to set the tone for the entire film. And should note also, this film has a great David Warner scene, which I really love too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Like, and the thing is, when it comes, like you've mentioned, it's a dark film and it never lets up on its tone or its feels. It generally makes you feel uncomfortable. It
Hmm.
generally puts the dread into you, and I think, like Anthony mentioned, the tone of the movie was deliberate. It was deliberately created to create this dread within you. And if you're somebody who's like a Christian and somebody believes in your faith and stuff like that, and you went into this movie, I generally feel it would be very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
But
and I
as
think like even though Anthony had pointed about the Jaws thing, I think it also was taking some inspiration from The Exorcist because of how serious that film was.
Well,
yes,
we had the Exorcist too, because that kind of kicked off of the boom of that like supernatural religious horror.
Hmm.
yes, yes. And we all know that one shot where the priest stand outside the house and he's looking up at the window with the street light shining on him, and it's just so ominous, and it's such a great look, with the poster and that. In this too, the one thing I noticed about this, what also makes you feel uncomfortable, is the music score.
Yes.
The music score is quite dark as well. Like it helps tell the story with how, like, the dreadedness of the score itself. Um, as the plot progresses, we find out that Damien's mother, Kathleen, is also pregnant again. And the priest, he basically sees all that's gone on, and he basically, like, lets them know that basically, I believe your son is the
Yeah.
Antichrist.
And
And
the priest, by the way, was played by the second Doctor.
yes, yes, he was. And as it progresses, he kind of warns them that, he's going to probably kill the unborn child, and that he's going to try and take over the world. And this is where you have that amazing sequence where the priest is outside the church and the lightning rod on top of the church suddenly it flies off and it spears through him, and he's literally standing there. Basically, for me, it was like a demonic scarecrow, how he's just pinned to but he's not, he doesn't collapse to the floor. He's held up by the lightning rod with his arms out, and it's like, it's such a
Yeah, it just
dark
dawned
and
on me
gruesome
that
death.
like how that scene probably inspired the scene from Hot Fuzz.
It
Yes,
actually it directly did.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
yeah. But as the plot progresses, you start to think, the father starting to look into things, and he's starting to, like, believe what he's being told. Mrs. Baylock's basically off her rocker, you know, the talk to people from Jerusalem, and there's, the plot progresses where, you know, it doesn't end well for the family except for Damien.
So Miss Baylock is one thing that I kind of like feel like was one of the missteps in that movie, because it would have made her action so much more impactful if she had first had this like warm, sweet, friendly veneer, and then when she finally turns, I don't know, I just felt like her just being that evil from the get-go kind of softened the things she did later.
Yeah, because obviously once the father starts to get suspicious and starts to kind of believe what he's being told, he starts to investigate, and then he finds out that the church that, you know they had, because the baby was born in Rome. They both were in Rome, and she started going into labour, and her baby died, and then they got this adopted baby in Rome, and then returned to the UK because he's a diplomat, and he's in the UK. And he then discovers that the church was burnt down, that the maternal records are completely lost. So it's a whole mystery now of what went down. And then obviously he gets told about looking for a marking on Damien, and he then finds the marking on Damien while he's sleeping, and this is when Baylock kind of loses her shit and goes berserk. And like a total flip outs. And the plot after that just spirals, where it's basically him, Thorn, versus, Baylock, and then all of the things around him start to kind of, unravel. So it's like you see, it's a dark movie, and like the ending of him, and the ending of this movie is quite dark as well.
It's the ending. It's really does kind of play with emotions, because on one hand, you know what that kid is, you know this needs to be done, but on the other hand, it's still a kid thrashing around helplessly.
Yeah, so it's like obviously after he now succumbs, after Robert the dad basically succumbs and like accepts that his son is basically the Antichrist. You know, he then, Mrs. Baylock, she meets her end, and then he then grabs Damien, and this is where it got dark. And like you say, you were kind of torn in your emotion, because he takes him and he puts him on this altar to try and kill him. And luckily the police, luckily for Damien, the police turn up and shoot him. And it's like a shootout, and then it ends with the funeral, and then you have that scene where Damien's potentially going to be the president of the United States, and it's like it ends on such a dark tone. There's, like you said, Anubis, there's no happy ending whatsoever in this film.
No, and that's some of the things that I kind of enjoy at times, because a lot of filmmakers, they try to either lighten the mood with like subtle humor, or they try to give you those happy endings, but these ones never let up, and that's what I kind of enjoy at times, because it's true horror. Like you don't get like the happy endings all the time. So that's kind of nice to see with this particular franchise, that they just don't care. They're like, you're gonna feel like shit by the end of the film, just so you know. That's what they're telling you.
The baboon scene with them freaking out in the car, that wasn't acting. The only way they tried a few things to get the baboons riled up, and the only thing that worked was they had a handler in the back of the car with the alpha baboon, and those baboons were freaking out because they wanted their alpha back.
Wow. Well, it just shows you the magic of movie making. But like you say, Robert is brutally killed, and then it has a double funeral with the President of the United States and the First Lady, and it pans out at Damien with that grin look on his face, and it kind of leads to the point that he's probably going to go into politics. And
I always took the ending, and granted the second one went in a different direction, but I took it as he was being adopted by the president.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, that's how I felt. And obviously by the third one, you can kind of see how that works out.
Yeah.
But the first Omen, definitely very, very dark, on probably one of the darkest of the horror films I've seen in a while. In terms of tone, the positives are great acting, great cast. The music score works well. The music score helps tell the story and basically helps you, along with the darkness within the plot. Which leads us to the second film. Damien 2. The first time was only a warning.
I like the tagline. It's like Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing. But Damien, Omen 2 is a 1978 supernatural horror film directed by Don Taylor. It is the sequel to The Omen and the second installment of the Omen series. It stars William Holden and Leigh Grant, with Jonathan Scott Taylor, Robert Foxworth, Lou Ayres, Sylvia Sidney, Lance Henriksen, Ian Hendry, and Leo McKern. Set 7 years after the first film, it follows a now pubescent Damien Thorne as he begins to realize his destiny as the Antichrist.
But William Holden actually turned down Gregory Peck's role in the original, and so that's why this was offered to him and why he jumped on it.
Yeah. Well, that often happens, doesn't it? You'll get an actor who doesn't understand the story or just doesn't think it's going to do well, then it'll explode. And they're like, fuck. One, the recognition I could have got in that film, and two, it's like the money I could have made. And then they'll jump at something else. And the perfect example that also happened to Sean Connery. Because Sean Connery was offered Gandalf and knocked it back because he didn't understand the story and he didn't want to commit to like a 2-year shoot in New Zealand. And then he was offered the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And he's like, I don't understand it, but looks like it's going to be a hit. And he signed on for it. And obviously it was...
I do like that movie, but yeah, he blew it when he didn't do Gandalf. But the cool thing about this, and I didn't really know, is that the first 3 movies of the Omen franchise actually made money. Like, it did very well, like for sequels and stuff, which is almost unheard of.
Especially with some of the films I've talked about, film series.
Yeah, I mean, they're no Pumpkin 4, but hey, you know.
Yes. Well, the 4th one might be, which we're kind of going to
get. Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
And the fact that it's got Lance Henriksen in it, it's a winner for me.
Yes. Well, this is great for Henriksen, so yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Anthony, what's your thoughts of the second film?
It's all right for what it is. I felt like this was kind of a holding pattern. Like, it did set up some interesting things, like the company taking over agriculture, which is going to give him direct control over the world's food supply in the future. But to me, a lot of this movie it just felt like it was just spinning its wheels and it didn't advance a whole lot. But it still had a solid cast. The kid playing Damien was really good, and I found the scene with him and his cousin in the snow where his cousin had realized what he is. I found that scene to like be truly unsettling in just how quickly he turned on him once his cousin wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So it's got its problems, but it's got a lot going for it, and I particularly love the stuff with William Holden in this one.
Yeah, I found as well with this one, right from the beginning, it sets up that Damien knows he's the Antichrist. So, like, you know, he gets that delivery and it's got the knife that can kill him and stuff. And then you've got the tug of war between him and his cousin and him having self-doubts and stuff. And like you see, once the cousin discovers who he is and he realizes that, you know, there's only one thing to do, and that is to kill his, you know, his cousin has to go. There's also the scene, obviously, with this this scene, if I can find it, that I always laugh at. This in the second film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that could have been shot from a better angle.
Yeah,
I was like, how does she even get thrown up? Like, it's like she sprang.
It's like she gets hit. She hits the front, and then
somehow manages to get not ran over.
Yeah, like if she got hit, she would have went under the wheels, or a body. If that truck's going as fast as it is, a body should have just exploded.
Yeah.
There should have been chunks of that all over that road.
This does have my favorite kill with the doctor in the elevator. I thought that was fucking sweet.
Final
Like that.
Destination, big time.
Yep.
I was trying to find a clip of it and I
The
couldn't.
one kill that frustrated me the most was the ice skating scene. Didn't none of those absolute morons think to break the ice ahead of him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But the second film, it holds up well. And like you said, I still think the first one's slightly better because it's the original. It's got this classic cast, but I do think the sequel, the second one, holds up well.
It does. Some of my problems, though, is that there's that scene where Damien and his brother are with the rest of the guys outside in the hallway, and that's when the bully was trying to fuck with him. And so he just kind of gives the bully this look, and then the bully starts like living in fear or whatever. To me, you have all these other guys around, they see what's happening. This is, of course, when his brother starts looking at him differently too. And it's like, that would make me paranoid right off the bat. Like, okay, so my brother just looked at this dude and this dude pissed himself basically. And it's like, that to me shouldn't have happened. That should have been a whole different, like the way that Damien works usually is things that happen when he's not really even in the picture. So if he, take the girl that looks at the dog and hangs herself, like that's something that just happens out of the craziness. Now in this one, we see Damien actually giving looks to the people that he's going to harm, but then there's other people to witness it, and that should already send like a red flag to some of these other people, but no one really says anything beyond that.
My favorite sequence in this one was actually the opening sequence with the archaeologist from the first one.
Yeah.
I just found like that death so unsettling that they had nothing to do but just accept that the sand is going to fill the room and smother them.
Yep.
Like what did you think of the real reveal of Anne? Anne being revealed that she's always been.
That was good. That was good. I did not expect that.
Yeah, and always basically being there for Damien, and then the whole, the whole ending with the burning and the fire.
That's what the nanny should have been in the first film.
Yes. Yeah. I think that would have worked better but obviously they had to do something to like for horror aspects in the first one.
Well, the first one, it kind of deals like with her is, and we'll see this throughout this entire series. It has a little bit of similarity to Rosemary's Baby, and so you get these people that look a little sketchy. So I think that nanny from the first one is supposed to be that person you say, "Oh yeah, she's bad." Like she's got something.
Apparently, from some of the research I did, it was originally written that way, but the actress thought it would be better this way, and Richard Donner agreed to do some takes her way, and he liked it so much they went that way.
Mm-hmm.
The ending for this, though, isn't as impactful as the ending, I think, of the first one. Like, yes, you have the shock reveal of Anne, revealing that she's always been there to support him. But then he ends up killing her anyway by using his telekinetic abilities and setting fire to the boiler room, which sets the fire, in the building. And then he basically just goes in the family car and drives off.
It didn't feel so much like an ending as the film just stopped.
Yeah, it felt like it was like you had went to commercial break and then you never came back to the rest of the film. The way that ended, but I do find when it comes to the second one, it's a great companion piece to the first one, but I still think the first one is the stronger of the first two films.
Yeah, but that's mainly because you don't, like I said, you don't expect your parents, like the parents of the first one, to die. Like you expect them to live. Like you expect the happy ending. So when the mother from the first one gets thrown out the window, you're like, oh fuck, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then of course, for father trying to kill Damien in the church, you kind of knew something was going to happen by that point, but it was still a shock to see it.
Yeah, the first film, like it's the introduction to the Antichrist, This film is like seeing the Antichrist kind of like get, wants to like going through puberty, getting to the age where he's now going to go forward to become an adult. So it's like the different eras and the different time periods of a child growing up. But in this films and in this series, it's doing it, but in the form of showing you how the Antichrist is growing and how his power has continued to be influential and how his abilities are grown as he matures and how a stronger hold he's having on people in different aspects of his life. So I found that fascinating. Which leads me to the third film, which is
Passion for the conflict.
the final conflict. The power of evil is no longer in the hands of a child. The last chapter in the Omen trilogy.
Off the bat, I've always heard he was president in this one. And when I finally watched it, I was a little disappointed to see he was just an ambassador.
Yes. But
hats off, Sam Neill, man. He's been part of horror for a long time. So
this man, I think,
saves this movie.
I was going to say the exact same thing. He is the saving grace of the Omen 3. His performance in this made this movie. Sam Neill is the older Damien, was the thing that kept this film going. So let's talk a little bit about it. So the final conflict, also known as Omen 3, the final conflict is a 1981 supernatural horror film directed by Graham Baker and written by Andrew Birkin. It is the third installment in the Omen series starring Sam Neill, Lisa Harrow and Rossano Brazzi. The film tells the progression of the now adult Damien Thorne to a position of earthly power set against the countdown to the second coming and attempts of a group of priests to kill the Antichrist. Richard Donner, director of the first film, returns as an executive producer, which I didn't know. And as you said, this film cost between 5 to 6 million, and it made 20 million at the box office, which for a 6 to 5 million budget, that's pretty damn good.
And for a second sequel. So normally sequels will get worse and worse for a franchise, but in this case, this one still made a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Going
back to the second film cost 6.8 million and it made 26.5 million.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn good. And the first one cost 2.8 million and it made 60.9 million.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn good. But Anthony Jordan, your opinion of the plot and the things you liked and didn't like about this one?
Well, I like Sam Neill's performance. It had some good cinematography, and just some of the scenes were solid. Like, one I can think of off the bat that I love is the two that try to corner him on the bridge. And then one that's just the one, and he's got all the hunting dogs with him, and all he goes is tear him up.
Yes.
Sam Neill he threw himself in this role, and he just embraced playing the most evil character he possibly could.
I mean, the end of this film baffled me.
Yes.
But
yeah, it was very lackluster for me.
100%. So the kills in this film are good, and it's like you say, Sam Neill's character now has his own family. He's now trying to progress. This particular death I haven't got a video, but
Yep, that's from the first one.
that's the first one, isn't it?
That's David
But-
Warner,
Yeah, like the deaths in this. They're okay.
I think one of the most unsettling ones that I liked from this was DeCarlo, who's been pretty much Damien's right-hand man the entire time. He has a wife and a child that supposedly should have been killed, but he kept hiding it from Damien. And then he comes home and his wife had actually killed the kid, and then she killed him. I thought, dude, that is so unsettling with the iron. Like, that freaked me the fuck out. I was like, that's just cold.
The fact that you killed her own kid when he had done nothing but tried to protect them.
Yeah, because like she was so like she found out and she was so upset at her husband. She's like, I'm not gonna let you hurt him. And didn't have Damien actually like hypnotize her or whatever he does with his possession or whatever to get her to do the dirty work for him and then kill the husband. I thought, damn, that's cold.
It was kind of a nice callback to the first one that had happened after she locked eyes with the Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell how these films definitely have influenced other films, like in terms of like, especially if you've got a film that has a character who gets hypnotized and end up killing somebody. You can see that this film's done that, and these films do that. It's like the glance of Damien's eyes, and then someone's instantly cursed or hypnotized, and they do something out of character, which ends up harming or killing somebody else or killing themselves. We've seen that time and time again in other supernatural films, but I generally think the Omen's the one that started it all. So outside of Sam Neill and the potential, the plot, the end when freaking Jesus Christ turns up, when what you call it turns up, like Christ at the end, and was it the Christ child?
Yeah, so it was like the second coming of Christ that they were searching
the
out.
Christ child at the end. Like for me, I kind of lost me a bit because you've now gone like he's Damien, the son of Satan, and now you've got the son of Jesus Christ now being born, and it kind of lost me, the plot. Like I say, I only watched this. I've only watched this film twice, and from my memory, this was for me the weakest part and like the weak ending of the movie. And just
I think they were just trying to up the ante, so they probably didn't know they were going to go beyond this with anything else. But I think they just kind of think, well, we're going to now make it like where, and in some ways, this one ends like with a little bit of a lighter note because Damien does fall. But I think they were just trying to say, okay, well, we've done all the super scariest stuff that we've done in the first two films, so now we're gonna still do some scary stuff, but now we're going to try and make it more lighthearted so we're give people hope. And so, but it doesn't really hit that note that we would like it to. Like it's really kind of corny.
I get the sense they didn't know how to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how Damien fights and then he shouts out to Christ to come, and then he's stabbed in the back. He's walking across a field. Then Christ in a bright light does appear. Yeah. And then he says he said, you haven't won, it's, you're not going to win. And he collapses and dies. And then I just found the whole ending anticlimactic. After like the first two films.
Speaking of anticlimactic, what about that first assassin who figured, let me climb a 30-foot catwalk to jump on him and stab him with a 12-inch, like an 8-inch dagger? Like, in what reality and scenario did he see that actually working?
Right.
So this, if you had to look at the the Omen trilogy, just the trilogy, this for me is the weakest of the three.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Like if we were to just talk about the first three films, the first I would actually put them in order of the release and like how I
Same.
would rate them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we got some more. We got some
There's
more.
more, little brother.
And so we got this lovely film. They said it was over, they were wrong.
I'll say this: that little girl, she probably is the Antichrist because she is one mean-looking little bitch.
Well, it's like the kid that got in the first film, the cast the right kid to just piss the audience off.
Right.
So, Omen for The Awakening is a 1991 American supernatural horror television film. So, Anubis, you are right. This was made for television, and you can tell.
Yes.
Yes. This film was directed by George Montesi and Dominique Autharian Girard.
Oh, the
And-
director of Halloween 5. Yeah, that's not a good sign when he's the director.
and written by Brian Taggart from a story by producer Harvey Bernhard and Taggart. The film is the fourth installment in the Omen franchise and the final installment of the original franchise. It stars Faye Grant, Michael Woods, Michael Lerner, and Asia Vieira. Its plot follows two attorneys who adopt a young girl unaware of the fact that she is to possibly succeed Damien Thorne as the Antichrist. So this is the lovely family. And of course, the actress there who plays the mother, I've only can remember her from one other thing, and that is it V, the television series.
Yep. She was good in that. Yep.
Oh, she's brilliant in V. I loved her in V.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this is a continuation of trying to keep the franchise alive, where Damien's now dead, so there's now been a new Antichrist born in the form of this young girl. So they kind of switched it up and did the gender swap thing before gender swapping was popular. And was like,
Only
the new.
they didn't go all the way through with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, in all, the film's okay. I find it hard to talk about this film because I'm very much like Anubis. I could only watch so much of it and kind of like switched off mentally and emotionally. And
I watched a review of it, and I knew from the review I wasn't going to be able to sit through this thing.
But she looks bad. She looks evil.
Yeah. No. It's really not has anything to do with any of the actors. Unfortunately, because it is made for TV. I mean, not that TV movies can't be good, but this one it tries a little bit too hard to replicate what happened with the first three films in terms of feel, and so it kind of misses the mark because they aren't able to have that freedom that you would with a movie, like an actual movie. So. Plus, you are changing the gender now, and you're kind of throwing a wrench in the whole thing. And it's like thinking ahead a little bit, like with the first Omen, you can literally remove the fourth one, and it wouldn't even matter. You don't need it. It's not really an important piece to anything else in this series. So
it's like so. This throws you like this kind of has a twist to it. So obviously at the beginning, the daughter, they believe she's acting erratic, and then she starts to act like some sort of psychological like breakdown, which apparently they're saying is just because she's going through puberty or something. And then strange events start to happen where people around her, people she's taunted, people she doesn't like begin to die. and there's all, this stuff going on. You also have these strange nightmare sequences that happen throughout the film, like, which whatever. And basically, to sum things up, they do a curveball where you think she is meant to be the new Antichrist, and she's terrorizing people, just causing pain to people, just killing people. But she has a younger brother, and it turns out the baby that's born, it has the symbol of the 666 on the hand. So basically, she isn't the new Antichrist, but she's been protecting the birth of her brother.
And it was the embryo that was inside of her that needed to be implanted in the mother.
Yes. So
why couldn't they have, instead of getting this convoluted, how about this? The Antichrist is going to rise to power regardless. So a new one is born through people completely unrelated to the original. Granted, again, it's a reason not to do this movie. The story's already done, but at least you're not piggybacking and making what was happened before more convoluted, and it's kind of a soft restart. But they just decided to make this as complicated as possible. But then again, this is Dominic Oden-Gerard, the guy who directed Halloween 5, set up a lot of stuff in that movie with no intention of explaining it, because his philosophy is that's for the next director to figure out. So
yeah,
and correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, because it's been a while. Halloween 5 is where the end you have that stranger walk into the jail, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, the Man in Black, the Mark of Thorn, in what happened after the stranger walked into the jail. Okay, just again, it's kind of relevant because it gives you an idea of what an idiot this director is, and he's basically a fast-talking used car salesman. They had a full script for Halloween 5. He met with Mustafa Akkad, threw it in the garbage can, and just spat out 1,000 different words and gave his own pitch where he set up all these loose plot threads with no intention of ever explaining it, because I don't know, I'm just making my film and the next director can decide what all this means because I don't have a clue.
Oh my god, yeah, I can see that now. I didn't realize it was the same director, but after you brought up Halloween 5, I'm like, yeah, I remember that ending. I'm like, that was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. I have no idea what he's trying to tell us.
Yeah, because and since you mentioned that the sign of Thorn, you've got Damien Thorn. Was that a drop? What, they're going to try and do a crossover? Was the man in black Damien Thorn, the son of the Antichrist? And
that's what he was going to try to go for. Who the fuck knows?
And try and recruit fucking Michael Myers into his army of fucking henchmen.
Well, I mean, look what happened with 6. So 6 actually went with the occult, so it kind of plays into it.
Mm-hmm. Because the whole thing with the 5th and the 6th one, they're basically trying to say Michael Myers is the embodiment of evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but they never, like you say, there was never a Halloween 7, so we don't know if they would have went across it and made Michael Myers totally supernatural.
Right.
Which in many ways I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is the remake, which we don't really need to talk much about. It's basically scene to scene.
It's another Psycho remake situation.
Yeah, it's basically another scene to scene remake of the first Omen, like the original Omen. But they tried to just make the scenes gorier, more flashier. The cast did an all right job, but
I have caught, like, I never watched the remake, but when I was like flipping through the TV, I've caught it on and seen a minute here or there. in one thing I will give it, the scene where the wife gets killed in the remake, because instead of being thrown out the window and falling through the ambulance, the nanny injects an air bubble into her IV. And this scene, like, the movies from all accounts is horrible, but I can admire this scene and I like it better than what happened in the original, because it's this more slow, drawn out thing where she has to helplessly wait for that air bubble to enter her bloodstream and kill her. And it is a very unsettling scene.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
Probably far more effective too.
Yeah. It's like a slow death known, and you know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of scary. But obviously, after the remake, we never got another Omen film for a long, long time, because I think because of the Omen remake, not doing as well, or not hitting the heights of what they wanted it to
Well,
be.
it's tougher, right? So, when you look at even like the next film where your budgets go up, and so you're expected to make more off of that. So you look at the budgets from the first three films, and it's like, oh, they didn't have to spend much to get their bang for their buck out of it, so that worked. But
let's be real too. The whole reason the remake got greenlit is because they could release it on June 6, 2006. If you want to go with that and mark it off the date, why not just theatrically re-release the original? It would have been cheaper and it would have made more money.
Yep.
Yeah. But we never got another Omen film till 2024. And I actually went to see this in the theatres because I had nothing to do, and I was always interested to see if this could be anything fresh or new or different. So, of course, we now have the first Omen, the most terrifying movie of the year, apparently. So, Anubis, I have seen this. You have now seen it. So, what's your opinion of the first Omen?
From a cinematography standpoint, it actually is better than all of them. But you expect that because of the modern age of technology and filmmaking. As I said off screen, the lead actress, Nell Tiger Free, playing Margaret, beautiful looking woman. I do have some issues with the film because, one, we have another repeat of the woman hanging herself, only this time we're going to set her on fire, which I thought was, you didn't have to do. You could have set her on fire, but had her do something else, like maybe run through the courtyard or something, anything except for repeating what we saw in the first film. There's another part later in the film when we get this reveal where our lead actress, Margaret, we find out that she's been impregnated by Satan. And so even though they dabble with the idea that we see from like Rosemary's Baby and stuff like that, there's a scene from this movie called The Church from 1989, I think, that is either Bava or Argento, maybe both of them work together. But the scene is similar to that in there, where that one's far more explicit. It doesn't really show like intercourse, but it shows you a demon on top of a girl. And I kind of wish they would have went with this, because it felt like at times they wanted to push the boundaries with this film with like some of the horrific acts and everything, but they held back. And so there's one scene where I really enjoyed where Margaret, she's trying to get away from the cult. A car slams into her car. She gets out. She starts kind of doing this morphic body contortion where she starts getting pregnant. Like it just starts happening, and she gets on her knees, and we see like the water breaking and all that. So I thought that was cool as fuck, but they never really pushed the gore disgusting aspects as far as I would have liked. But this movie is very well shot. It is unsettling in some ways, but at the same time, it is almost like a direct copy of the first film. So it's very interesting. Like it's good, but it's not great.
From what I understand, I watched a couple of reviews of this. It sounds like it does fit perfectly into the original, but they also left a couple loose threads that it can potentially run off into its own thing if it needed to.
Well, I said this to Anubis off screen. So for me, my take on the first Omen. First, I'll just say this bit first. The first Omen is a 2024 American supernatural horror film directed by Kasha Stevenson in her feature film debut, which I thought, quite frankly, she did a decent job. For what she came up with, who co-wrote the screenplay with the Tim Smith and Keith Thomas from a story by Ben Jacoby. It is a prequel, of course, to the original Omen from 1976 and the sixth installment of the Omen franchise. The film stars Neil Tiger Frey, who looks fucking gorgeous, Taufik Barham, Sonia Bragan, Ralph Inson, and Bill Knightley. The plot follows an American nun set to work at a Catholic orphanage in Rome who uncovers a sinister conspiracy to bring about the birth of the Antichrist. And like you say, this nun comes to the orphanage, uncovers this mysteriously secret plot of these nuns and priests and everyone involved to bring forth Antichrist. And for me, what I found about this film is most horror films this day and age that don't make you feel uncomfortable. It's all about jump scares. It's all about how much blood and guts we can throw at the screen and see people, jump in theaters instead of actually not just putting blood and guts on the screen, but actually making you feel physically uncomfortable. And making you feel a bit like, not, feel uncomfortable, feel unsettled. For me, horror, it's not just about the blood and gore, it's about the feel. If I would rather feel uncomfortable and actually scared than seeing a head be cut off on the motorway by a flying truck or whatever, because once that's gone and the flash of that happens, you forget about it. Where if a horror film can make you feel generally uncomfortable and generally make you feel unsettled, then it's done a better job for me. And that's what I felt with this. That's what the first original Omen did as well. It made it generally feel unsettled and uncomfortable, and it's because of the matter it's dealing with, the Antichrist and all of that, and the religious, rigor, all of it all. And the pregnancy scene made us feel uncomfortable, and then the reveal at the end, and then it went from being unsettled to then becoming her trying to escape this cult that's chasing after her. And then, like you say, one thing I felt as well, like Anthony's mentioned, is how this film generally felt like it could have been its own thing. If you took the Omen off the title and just called it something like, I don't know, the Dark Pregnancy or something like that, or the Dark Orphanage.
Immaculate.
Yeah, which came out basically around the same time.
Right.
This, I think, would have worked either way. But then you have that excellent tie-in right at the end of the movie, where obviously all said and done, and there's a death, and there's this baby. The baby's born from this nun who's been impregnated, by Satan himself. And because it's based in Rome, it then ties perfectly into the first film. Now you know where the Antichrist came from this orphanage, and then is handed over to the Thorn family at the end of the film.
I know there's a shot where you see like a file with a picture of Gregory Peck.
Yeah, it's got the family in the file. So it absolutely, for me, feels like a generally great organic prequel to the original film. And I generally can say I enjoyed this for what it was. I can take it, but I also, at the time, there was a lot of political upheaval in Rome and in Italy at the time, and they mentioned some of that, so it ties in to like things that were happening politically at the time in the country. So for me, they did an effective job of using like the darkness of the Antichrist, you know, the uncomfortableness of like childbirth and all of that, and the religious side of it, along with like the political side that was happening at that time. So for me, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this better than I thought I was. Is it a perfect movie? No. Does it have its issues? Yes. But I think this is higher on my list than a couple of the others that we've talked about in this franchise.
It sounds almost like it would have been a better movie if it was its own thing. It didn't have the baggage of being a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, with that all said and done, final thoughts on the Omen franchise, Anthony, and then I know we haven't seen all the movies, but just the ones you have, just rate them as you see them.
Not really my cup of tea, but the three I did watch were at least an interesting watch. I like things they did in the movie. I like performances. I can admire the films for the art that went into them, and if I had to rate them, it would be in order 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. DJ Anubis.
I don't have scores because I haven't really thought about how to score them, but I do have them ranked. I would have them ranked. So from dead last, obviously Awakening, the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have the Final Conflict. Then I would have Damien 2. Then I would have the first Omen, and then I have the original Omen at number 1.
Nice. So the first Omen isn't as low as I thought you might have had it on your list. So.
No, it's not horrible. And the first four, like those first four with the first Omen included, are perfect because the first Omen is actually a prequel. The Awakening is the only one. It's like your odd man out. Now there was this weird thing where I wonder if some weird way the person that did the first Omen, because it has twins with the boy and the girl, I thought maybe they were trying to make a connection to the fourth one, but it wouldn't make sense with the timeline. But either way, the first Omen is just so well shot, and it's very nice. It's still unsettling. The only issues I have is the kills are very too samey than what we've seen. But other than that, no issues. And plus, you have Charles Dance and Bill Nye. I love both those actors immensely.
Yeah, definitely. As for me, my rankings are pretty much the same as Anubis's. So it would be obviously the fourth one, The Awakening last. Then it would be the third film. Then it would be the second film. And then it would be the first Omen, and then the first Omen. Then the original Omen is number 1. So very similar like feels about these films. But the Omen films have always fascinated me because of the subject matter. So it was nice to like at least try doing these and talk about them and see people's thoughts on them. I know there are a lot of people that like these, but then there's a lot of people that don't like them for whatever reasons. But coming up on the entertainment headquarters, the next Into the Darkness, which is my December special, is going to be The Shining and Doctor Sleep. So that'll be the next one. And then after that, starting the new year in January, we're going to be covering the Insidious films because, they're a newer franchise. People love them, I hate them. It's going to be interesting to see what you guys think of Insidious.
Yeah, you might be shocked with me with that one. So.
And I'm dying to know what Anthony thinks. But after the things coming up on Into the Darkness boat, next up on the channel, which is the 6th of December, we're going to be doing on Anthony's channel, we're going to be doing King Kong. Peter Jackson's King Kong. I'm looking forward to doing that with you. And then
what time are you guys doing that?
It'd be
9,
4 o'clock our time.
yeah,
Can
5.
I get in on that?
Yeah, it's no problem.
I just can't have my own thing, can I?
No. Yeah, you
I'm
can't have your
joking.
own thing. You got too many of your own things already.
I'm, I'm only joking.
I know.
And then on the 7th, we've got a live Kaiju Connections. It's going to be Pulpazori. So we've got that coming up on the channel. And then on the 13th of December, we have the Middle Earth special. And there's a lot more coming to the entertainment headquarters. But Mr. DJ Anubis, my friend, what is coming to the Metal Tavern Radio?
So for me, tomorrow, today's Friday, right? Yeah. So tomorrow, for Silver Screen, we're doing like a special thing where we're ranking all the James Bond films. It'll be me, Omen, and Jedi. And then on Sunday, for the Silver Screen Savants, Owen has picked Spielberg's E.T. It'll be me, him, and Neko talking about that film. On the 2nd, I will be doing another Lone Wolf with Dub, getting back into some of my martial arts reviews. I'm going to be reviewing the movie called Chocolate. And then I just got word from Samurai that he's unable to do AFA, so I'll be hosting that with Rick Meyer. So it'll be me and him doing AFA this month with
Nice.
the few films that Rick has seen and all that. So that will be around 6 p.m. Eastern, my time. Then on Wednesday the 3rd, getting together with this cute little guy over here on my left, the host, to do a next Kaiju Spotlight for Shimo. So that's the next thing coming up. And of course, on the 6th, I get to do King Kong with you guys because I just added myself. I just pulled an Oven.
I've got nothing to say. But Anthony Jordan, what is coming to your channel from our King Kong special on the 6th of December?
Right now I've got my review. I'm working on my next part for Return of Godzillathon, which is 1984. I have the review recorded. I just need to work on the footage, and then I need to edit it together after that. Godzilla 1985, and I'm also wanting to do a live discussion to conclude my Gundam Wing retrospective of the movie Endless Waltz. I need to get with Gojira 851 about what would be a good date for him to do that in December.
Nice.
Yes. For those who have seen it, the movie's set on Christmas Eve, so yeah, it's technically a Christmas movie.
Hell yeah. And Anthony, I've just on the 23rd of December at 11 p.m. my time, me, Anubis, and Neko are getting together to do my next Christmas special, which is Edward Scissorhands and Scrooged, if you'd like to be a part of that one.
I would. I just need to find somewhere where I can see Scissorhands.
I'll find a place for you, sure. I'll get you.
Definitely, at the very least, I would definitely be down for talking about Scrooged.
I love Scrooged. Because every year I've said to Anubis, every year I'm going to try and do a Christmas special where I talk about 2 similar Christmas films. So last year we did National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. It was me, Tony, and Anthony, and we did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So this year it's Scrooge and Edward Scissorhands.
Even though I'm not a Tim Burton guy, I have been meaning to check that one out just because I know it's Vincent Price's last performance.
Oh, he's only in the first few minutes of the film, but I just think if it wasn't for him doing the introduction of the movie wouldn't be the same. It's and also it gets teary-eyed because wait till you see it and what happens to Vincent Price. It does make you get emotional, I feel.
I know it's kind of like a similar thing where with what the new Final Destination was with Tony Todd, where his passing and the scenes he's in just elevates it among above what it would be if that hadn't happened.
Yes. And since you mentioned Vincent Price, he has just been voted the greatest horror actor of all time on a
Makes
poll.
sense.
So
Well deserved, if you ask
Well-
me.
correct. But yeah, that's what's coming up on the entertainment headquarters, and in the month of December, for the Metal Tavern Radio, and of course the month of December for Anthony Jordan's movies and gaming.
Movies and
But
gore.
movies and gore. But this has been Into the Darkness. This has been the Omen franchise. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Metal Tavern Radio, to Anthony Jordan's movie and gaming. And of course, if you want to, please like, share, and subscribe to the entertainment headquarters. But keep enjoying your movies, keep on enjoying all things entertainment, and we'll catch us all at the next one.